You will be.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Oh, I believe we're live. I just want to thank Jessie Kwatamdia for coming on today. She is going to tell us about the benefits of strategic business coaching. So I want to thank you for coming back today. I want to reiterate that everything is cyclical. So when we talk about one thing, I want you to apply it on multiple levels wherever you possibly can. Now, Jessie, I cannot do you the justice that you deserve. Please introduce yourself to this audience and tell us about yourself.
All right. I am Jessie Kwatamdia, and I own a franchise called the Growth Coach of Columbia. And what that is it's a coaching franchise, a coaching business, but I center on a proven strategic business mindset process.
Ooh, proven.
Proven.
So it's time tested and it will work.
It's time tested and it will work.
Now, you're in Columbia, but I'm sure you see people nationwide.
I do. I'm in Columbia. I tend to go between Kansas City and St. Louis, but yes, I've talked to people nationwide.
Nice. Now, what would you say would be one of the most impactful things that someone can get from utilizing a strategic business coach?
Well, one, they can get to really face their reality, know what it is that they're dealing with, or know what challenges they are. But when we say facing your reality, we're not saying just facing, today we're talking.
Mhm.
It's really digging deep and talking and facing the things that you don't want to really face or talk about. We all have those things.
Yes.
So facing those things and also giving ourselves credit for the things that we're doing good.
Good.
Yeah.
And I really like that there is credit for the good things that you're doing being involved, because no one wants to hear all the bad. They
Yeah.
need something to fortify them. But I really want to touch back on what you just said about being able to see the things for what they really are. And I feel like a big thing with us business owners are our finances. We don't want to. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Finances, the way we lead is
Yeah.
another, the way we manage people.
Yes.
It's a huge one.
And I also know, though, just through my own personal experience, that the head of the organization really has a big impact on how things go.
Yep.
So do you talk a lot to leaders?
Yes, quite a bit actually. Yeah, you're right as far as the leaders, have a lot of influence. So if you're a leader that you know yourself and you're confident and you're willing to listen to your people,
Yeah.
also willing to listen to what works and what doesn't work, then it would trickle down to the rest of your team. Yes.
Okay, so when you're speaking with these leaders, besides listening, which you don't even have to be a leader, just the power to listen to someone, let me tell you right now, someone might need you to hear them, and you cannot just be waiting to speak. What other good advice, because listening is awesome, but there's a few other things to be a good leader. Tell us some of the things that you can impart without giving away all your trade secrets.
Okay, well, apart from listening, of course, it's communication.
Yeah.
And it's just not just talking, but effective communication, where, you're really, again, you're listening, but you're understanding what is being said to you. And you're repeating so that it ensure that you understood and then take actions from there. And as leaders, some of the things that is difficult to stomach is when the people you're leading said you're doing that is not right.
True.
And so that kind of can affect our egos as leaders, but really being able to be open to that, embracing that, and make the necessary changes.
Yeah, well, that's the most important part. Someone can tell you something all day long, but if you're not implementing the changes, then what is the point of even book? So let me tell you this. As a keynote speaker, they're always telling me to go out and find who would be my ideal client or my ideal audience. What does your ideal client look like, Jessie?
Well, I'll say my ideal client is a business that has been in business for at least 3 years. They've kind of gone over the hump. So from that, that has employees of 3 all the way up to maybe 500.
Okay.
So medium to big.
Okay.
Clientele, yes.
Now, are there big differences between your 3-5 person staff and your 500? I'm sure there would be.
There is, because one is smaller,
Mm-hmm.
and because it's smaller, it's easier to dig deep and kind of get into the weeds and work with the issues at hand. The bigger, they're different layers. So what
Okay.
I've done in the past is I might come in for priority time management,
Uh-huh.
do that, and then they discover, okay, they have emerging leaders. They're trying to train people in their company that they want to promote up to leadership, but they don't have all the skills to be
Yeah.
leaders. So I come in and train with that. And there's also sales and marketing as well.
Guess what? She said my phrase. It's now my phrase. Emergent leader.
Yes.
Yeah. So what does that look like when they've identified that emergent leader? What do you coach them how to make sure that person's successful?
Yes, we a lot of times when you're looking at a bigger company, they normally will, they have more than one department.
Yeah.
So they have more than one emerging leaders.
Mm-hmm.
And so we put all those in a group coaching program, and we just take them. Normally it takes about 3 to 6 months
Okay,
to
so
do that.
3 to 6 months, you put these emergent leaders in their own. So, and you know what? I feel like that's so valuable too, to build relationships
Exactly.
amongst this new crew of up and coming leaders.
Mhm.
Would you say that business is based on relationships?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. People do business with people they know and trust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so glad she came on. I've known Jessie since she was one of the first people I met when I started this
Alright.
awesome job that I used to work at, and currently, still utilize their services. And she was always so welcoming. And I really didn't have a good grasp on what exactly coaching was, even though I was working in an organization that was based on business coaching. That was all I was seeing was, how do you start your business? How do you get your tax ID? How do you, maybe apply for grant funding? How do you become, SBA? But there was nothing really, there was no meat. There was no meat. I feel like Jessie has the meat. Jessie, do you have the meat?
Yes, I do
Do you
have the meat. I
That's
do. Now,
right.
maybe be a new slogan. Do you have the meat?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yes, because listen, you can have potatoes all day long, but if you don't have a full course meal, then you're missing something.
Yes.
And
yes.
there were, while I worked in that coaching atmosphere, shout outs to a woman named Sarah, maybe she'll come on the show. She was taking it to another level.
Mhm.
She was taking it to another level and really digging deep. But there's only so much you can do with someone who has so many clients. Do you ever come into that as an issue, or are you right now at the point where you can give just personal attention to each client?
I do group coaching.
Nice.
Yeah, so where we get business owners in the same room, and the idea behind it is when everybody is in the same room and they have some similar challenges,
Mhm.
then they help each other. They help each other grow.
Very much
So as a business coach or as strategic business, the whole business mindset is not for us to do the work for you.
Yeah.
It's for us to guide you through the process, for you to do the work.
Absolutely.
So I tell people, I don't do the work for you.
Yeah.
but I am the GPS of your business.
Oh,
How's
she's
that?
got the meat and the GPS.
Uh-huh.
She's already taken you to a very nice restaurant. Okay.
Exactly.
So you've got so many different facets
Mhm.
of how you can train. So when you're doing these group workshops, now you do paid as well as some free ones. Is that correct? Or are they
We
all
don't
paid
call them
workshops?
free.
Well, I'm sorry. What are they? Enrichment enrichment services?
Enrichment services sounds better than
It
free.
surely
isn't it?
does, because
Yeah.
let me tell you, knowledge is power. So if you have power, there it's really a beautiful exchange.
Yeah.
Can we agree on that?
Oh yes, and you know that I come from nonprofit.
Yes.
So being a nonprofit, you got to give back.
And I love
So-
that. I
so
love that.
I give back in some ways that way.
Yes, and I've
Yeah.
seen that you also teamed up with people to maybe help with finances directly.
Mhm.
Yeah, because Columbia is an excellent town for people to get together to collaborate and iron sharpen iron.
Yes.
Very much so. And I like too when you said that you do the group coaching, because those are relationships being formed as well.
Yeah.
Can
Yeah.
you tell us about one of your favorite classes that you've had recently?
My favorite class, I have to say, leadership.
Ooh.
Leadership is I just finished leadership Jefferson City.
Okay.
I also did leadership Columbia, their professional development. I love that because they come from all facets of business.
Very much so.
Right. And they have the same goal, to be better leaders and to learn more about who they are.
Yes.
right? And so to be able to empower their people and also make a difference in their community.
I
So
love
I love
that.
that.
So when you were in Jeff City, did you have a lot of legislators or potential legislators that were in your leadership training?
Yeah, there were some. There were
Good.
some. There
So
were people from all over Jeff City.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And they realized, even in the government level, the importance of having a coach. Now,
Yes.
Jessie, do you have a coach right now?
Yes, I do. You know, the franchise that I belong to, which is the Growth Coach, we do believe in coaching each other. So
Nice.
the power of the network is what we call it. So I can pick up the phone and call any one of them and
Nice.
iron out some issues or have them even guide me. So a coach needs a coach, absolutely.
Oh, I just
Yeah.
love that. I love that. I feel the same about mentorship. Do
It,
you?
oh yes,
Mm,
oh yes,
mm.
I love mentoring.
Well, we'll talk after this
Yeah.
because I realize that sometimes when someone tells you something, you have to marinate on it. But before you can even make it to that point, you have to trust them as an individual.
Yeah.
You need to actively, if you do not have a mentor or mentors, be actively looking for someone who is in your sphere, who has what you want, or is working towards the same goals as you, or can better you in some way. And I bet through that synergistic relationship, you'll be bettering them as well.
Yeah, or somebody that is where you want to be in the future. You can
Absolutely.
talk to them.
And I think I've said this on a couple shows, and I didn't come up with this. You hang around with 4 fools, you'll be the 5th. You hang around with 4 millionaires, you'll be the 5th.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
that's excellent.
thanks. I didn't come up with it though. I just say it, you know. But I also wanted to ask you. So speaking with your own coach, spread a little sage wisdom to us, if you don't mind. What's something that's really stuck out to you?
With speaking to my own coach,
Yeah, to your own
yeah,
coach.
it takes. Let me think here.
Or something you've said to someone else in coaching.
In coaching,
Mhm.
well, the one thing actually, I'll go back to, a coach speaking to me, and one of the coaches that is pretty straightforward and blunt, like, and sometimes I'm being accused of being, but I'm just saying I'm strategically
Telling you what you need to
telling
do.
you
Yeah,
what you need to do. You're not going to benefit if I tell you what you want to hear and don't tell you what you need to work on
that's
to
right.
get to where you need to go. And so there's a particular coach, Rick Franzel, that is very straightforward. He will say things like, if you said, nobody needs a coach, nobody's calling me. And he says, well, if you're in your living room, nobody's going to come to your living room and look for you. You got to get out there and make relationships.
That's exactly
Yes.
right.
So even for coaches, sometimes we have to kind of talk to ourselves to step out, or have that one person that nudges us and go, you're not going out like you say you are. You need to step out there and help some people.
Absolutely. Especially when what you have as a skill is yourself and your mind.
Yes.
No one is going to know that if you're sitting on your couch.
Exactly.
I'm
You
so
have to
glad
be-
she wasn't sitting on the couch, because I met her and I instantly knew when I started my show that, I was going to base it around, criminal justice reform. But there's so many things that are, like I say, cyclical. They all tie into each other. So it doesn't matter what walk of life you're in or where you're at. Mentorship, and especially for a business owner, it is so important to utilize coaches. I still talk to many business coaches, Jessie being one of them. Jessie, you look at me, so squirrel.
What?
Way off subject. Jessie was at an event that I recently spoke at, the Wholeness 8 retreat.
Yes, you did a fabulous job.
Well, thank you.
did a fabulous
Sarita Tosin, keynote speaker, SaritaTalks.com. Let's start a conversation. I'd love to come speak to you. But also, and I appreciate that, that's iron sharpens iron. So as a business professional, when someone comes into your environment and you see them there, then it gave me further impetus to be like, hey, Jessie, remember you're going to be on my show?
Yeah.
Come on, let's do it.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I've had such a good time talking to you about ways that people can better themselves in business, but we said strategic. A lot of people see that word or hear that word, but I don't think they know what goes behind it. Will you tell us?
Strategic, there has to be a plan. You don't just throw dirt on against the,
Throw
wall.
caution to the wind,
Yeah,
or
and
throw
then something
spaghetti on the
happens.
wall.
You
and
gotta
see
have
what
a plan.
sticks.
If you're gonna go to New York, you have a map, road map. So being strategic is having a roadmap.
Very much so.
Looking at your business and really, or even your personal life, and really thinking about how am I going to get to the goal that I want to get to.
And guess what? She's a GPS.
I am.
She's
I can
a
help
GPS.
you get to the goal.
Well, let me tell you this, Jessie, it has been such a pleasure and just awesome speaking to you today. Tell us how we can reach you when we want to utilize these services.
Well, you can do that by either emailing me, J Kwatamdia. You can see my last name, Kwatamdia at thegrowthcoach.com.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Or you
She's
can go
also
to the
on
website.
LinkedIn.
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. And you
Yes.
can go to a website as well, The Growth Coach of Columbia.
The Growth Coach of Columbia. I'm going to put that information in the description. Leave us with just another piece of your sage wisdom. And if you need a little help, she told my mom, but she met my mom at this event, that she needs to stretch. And I feel like that can transcend into the business as well.
Yeah, it can. Yes, it can.
Bye.
So you want me to say something in reference to stretching?
Yes.
Well,
yes.
you know, if your goal does not have you stretch, where you feel uncomfortable and you have that sick feeling in your stomach, your goal is not big enough.
And you know, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. But before we go, I want to tell you, a friend of ours, both of ours, Curtis Tolson, said, if your dream does not scare you, it's not big enough.